95.7 The Game breaking news.
All right, Shams reporting that Draymond Green and Rich Paul have agreed on a 4-year, $100 million contract for Draymond to return to the Warriors. Sources tell The Athletic, yeah.
That's it.
There it is. Boom, 301. Draymond coming back, 4 years, $100 million.
And there it is. It includes a player option in year 4, as I had thought that it might. There it is, JD. And we talked about it before, the nature of when this would come. Would it be 301? And in fact, it was exactly at 301 from Shams Charania, free agent Draymond Green, and Rich Paul have agreed on a 4-year, $100 million contract for Draymond to return to the Golden State Warriors. Sources tell The Athletic the $100 million deal contains a player option in year 4. So we will get into exactly what the structure looks like and what that 4th-year option looks like as well. With the player option, I thought all along that this deal would be a 3-year deal with a 4th year as a player option. But, man, that number coming in at just 100 over 4 years feels like a win for Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob.
Yeah, I think it's a good deal. And again, it's right in line with what I had put out there a couple of weeks ago as far as the average. I'd had 3.75 as the kind of the baseline. Maybe it's up, maybe it's I didn't think it was going to go down from there for sure. But $25 million a year, I did initially think that it would be a lower average number than the 27.6, but it looks like he gets that money back in that player option for that 4th season now, which may not be fully guaranteed. We'll have to see about that. There may be some incentive money, that he would collect based on how the 3 years of the deal look or the 3rd year of the deal looks. But yeah, all in all, I think that's a nice deal for the Warriors and Draymond Green as they go all in here for these next 3 seasons, really, around Steph and now Draymond, and we'll see about Klay.
And I look forward to seeing exactly what the structure is. Again, if you're just joining us, the breaking news, Draymond Green has agreed in principle, according to sources, to a 4-year, $100 million deal with the Golden State Warriors. It's a 3-year contract with a 4th-year player option. Details yet to be released. And JD, I want to refer to what you said yesterday about the structure of contracts, because you made it seem like you can't do, for example, 27, 27, 27, and then $19 million in terms of the structure. There are certain limits, right, in terms of how much it goes up and how much it goes down.
Yeah, and those limits are set by the new CBA, so it could be something like 20, it could be 27, let's say 25, 20, 27, 25, 23 to get to like 75
Gotcha.
That way. You could start it. I don't know what the starting point is based on whatever Draymond Green's salary was last year. There's a certain percentage. It can go up from there. And then it can either accelerate at a percentage from there,
or decelerate,
or it can decelerate.
He made 25.8 last year, so Draymond could come in and make 26 this upcoming year instead of 27.6, which he said no thank you to. He could be at 26 and then go to 25 and then go to 24 and then maybe have a player option for 25 again.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Although I think it does, if it goes in the downward direction, it would have to stay consistent on the downward direction. But so I don't know that the Warriors would do that, because that would put them in a mode of where maybe they're paying him more this year.
Interesting, yeah.
31 or 32,
and
something like that.
And if you're Joe Lacob, and I don't want to get too into the math, and 888-957-9570, it's now official. Draymond Green is a Warriors, and he's always going to be a Warriors. What do you think about it? 888-957-9570. If you're Joe Lacob and you're going to do this deal, wouldn't you rather do 23 this upcoming year and then escalate it from there, knowing that in future years you're more likely to want to be underneath the apron? Like this year, no matter what you give Draymond Green, you're not going to be outside of that second level apron for the luxury tax. You're going to have that hit no matter what. So would you rather pay him more now and have the tax hit now and hope that it deteriorates over the years, or would you rather pay him less now and pay less tax now and hope that in future years you can get out from underneath the second level apron.
Yeah, if that's what fits better and Draymond was amenable to it and the CBA allows for it, then I think that would make some sense. Until we know more, it's probably good to assume that it's just 25 across the board, although usually it's not necessarily the same value straight across the board. Couple other names just off the board here. Drew Eubanks is going to Phoenix. These are some lower level names. Kobe White has agreed to a deal with Chicago.
Sorry.
And Taurean Prince is going to the Lakers, according to Shams. As well.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, according to Woj, that Karis LeVert is getting 2 years and 32 in a contract to the Cavaliers. So some of the names coming out now off the market, hot and heavy, and it seems like only clutch deals coming out. Chris Haynes, did you mention Trey Lyles is signing with Sacramento? He's coming back to Sacramento.
That makes sense.
According to Chris Haynes.
Yep, that makes sense. Josh Okogie going back to Phoenix. He was somebody that was a key rotation piece for them. Good wing defender as well. And another big one. This one's a big one. I think this one we can hit the sounder for. That's just come through here.
I'm just now seeing it, Grandy. If you would please, I love the sounder.
95.7 The Game breaking news.
Kyle Kuzma. And we talked about this in the changeover, the fact that there had been indications that he might go back to Washington. Kyle Kuzma's agreed to a 4-year, $102 million contract to return to the Wizards. That per Woj. Kuzma takes a shorter deal, but yeah, $102 million for Kyle Kuzma. There was some reports that he wanted a big max, and it was apparent that either he had decided to go in another direction or the market wasn't exactly what he thought it was going to be. And so he ended up going back to Washington to get his money.
Yeah, and that's good money if you can get it. 4 years and 102. That is basically $25.5 million per year for Kyle Kuzma to go to the Washington Wizards. And you're playing alongside Jordan Poole. And Poole and Kuzma now form a 1-2 punch with the Wizards. So Kyle Kuzma is still at a spot in his career where he can go out there and get another deal after this deal, but that is another piece of breaking news as Kuz goes out there and gets a nice contract, $102 million, of course, guaranteed in the NBA. 888-957-9570. The news has come out. Draymond Green has signed with the Golden State Warriors 4 years and $100 million with the fourth year as a player option. How you feeling, Warrior fans, about the big three being together for another 3 years at least?
Yeah, and just do you like the deal or not? Do you think the deal fits in the right range? I think the first 3 years of it absolutely fit within the reasonable range. It's just a matter of, would that fourth year become a sticking point? But when you look at the average being $25 million a year, I think adding the fourth year is one of those things where it's like, you deal with that down the line. Like the cap's going to keep going up at that point, so it's going to be a smaller percentage of the cap at that point in time. Steph isn't even signed at that point for that year, that fourth year. And so, who knows where things are going to be at that point in time. I mean, all you have to do, and I always say this, in a lot of my conversations with Steiny, he'll want to talk about the future and what's it going to look like. And I said, 3 years is a long time. Like and all you have to do really at any point is look back 3 years. That's what I always say. Look back
right.
Look at 3 years ago, June 30th, 2020, how the world was different at that point in time.
And Quinn Cook and JaVale McGee and Mo Buckets.
Yeah, there was nothing going on 3 years ago today because we were right in the middle of a pandemic, all stuck at home, and no sport had come back to play a single game in 2.5 months. So it's just life comes at you fast. The Warriors were 15-50 at that point. Nobody knows what 3 years from now is going to look like. So you worry about the next three and the fourth. It's you figure that out when you get to it. Like there's nothing that $25 million for Draymond in the fourth year is going to prevent you from doing. Whether you're in a full blown rebuild or whether you're still with another star in the equation trying to continue to contend for championships.
And Draymond doesn't pick up that player option unless they've got action and this team is actually still doing something.
And or he's hurt and he can't play.
Well, then he picks it up. I mean, I guess you would pick it up, although TNT will probably pay him close to that much if he's going to be, on the set of Inside the NBA at that point. Nick J on the YouTube feed, and you can always follow us at YouTube/957 The Game. He corrected me, and he was right to do so, because I said that the big three will now be here for the next 3 years. And that's wrong, because Klay Thompson only has one more year in his deal. But JD, before we go to the phones, and I see all you guys lining up to weigh in at 888-957-9570, what does this mean about the future of Klay Thompson now in his ability to get an extension?
Before we get into that, there are some news from Anthony Slater, our friend of The Athletic, on the details, and you. This is in line with what we were talking about, and you brought it up, Dibs. The first year, according to Slater, of Draymond Green's new deal, $22.3 million. Slater writes that was a negotiation key for the Warriors. His declined player option was $27.6. So that slices the repeater tax bill, again, quoting Slater here, about $40 million, just paying him $5 million less this year with the exponential component and the 7.75 or whatever it is.
Makes perfect sense.
So he would be 22. I don't know what it'll look like, but it's probably somewhere in the range of 22, 24 and a half, 28.
Yeah, somewhere
exactly.
in there. But that makes sense because, you get that fourth-year player option as a way to, you do Joe Lacob a solid. You go from 27.6 down to 22.3. That's a $5.3 million hit, and the projected repeater tax bill goes down about $40 million, which you're doing Joe Lacob a big-time solid, and so the return favor is to give Draymond Green that fourth year on a player option. And I wonder now what happens with Klay Thompson, JD. Do you foresee, and I'm not saying today, but at some point in this cycle, do they then now look to Klay Thompson to give him an extension to try to make sure they send a signal to everybody, look, you three, Steph, Klay, and Dre, 3 more years together. Draymond's got a player option for the fourth year. And, Steph, who knows what's going to happen when he makes $60 million in 3 years. And do you now sign Klay Thompson, or do you make Klay play this out?
I would approach Klay Thompson and say, hey, we want to, we're committed to the three of you together. We believe that you're a good enough player to put another couple of years on the deal. But it's not, you're going to have to do what Draymond did, and that is take less money basically for the duration of this deal, or at least in the beginning of that deal, which would be next year. I'm not sure Klay Thompson would be amenable to it. I would ask him. I would go to him. I would say, "Hey, Klay, would you do a 2-year extension?" He probably wouldn't do a 2-year extension at this point. Like, if you were Klay Thompson, would you do a 2-year extension right now? Would you do it like a 2-year, $65 million extension?
I would look for a 2+1 in Draymond Green fashion in terms of what Draymond just did. Draymond got a 3-year deal with a player option. If I'm Klay, I would look for a 2-year with a 3rd-year player option, or maybe a 3 with a 4th-year option.
And if I'm Klay, I'm thinking I can play 1 more year and get 4. Like, I'm playing devil's advocate. If I'm Klay Thompson, I'm thinking I'm playing this year at 42 or whatever it is. I may be off. And then I'm getting a 4-year deal again, because I'm still that good to get a 4-year deal. So I don't know if I'm Klay, I'm taking a 2+1
Interesting.
or anything like that. And again, I might be wrong. I think Klay Thompson still thinks he's worthy of that.
And I wonder, though, in the back of his mind, having had 2 career-ending injuries and having fought back from those career injuries, is it better to have the bird in the hand as opposed to 1 in the bush or 2 in the bush, knowing that, bad things can happen to Klay Thompson, and, this could be, if you have another one of those injuries and you've had 2 of them, what do you do then in terms of a long-term deal? 888-957-9570. The news is out. It's official. Draymond Green will sign a deal with the Golden State Warriors, 4 years, $100 million. It's a 3-year deal with a 4th-year player option. Warrior fans, how do you feel? Draymond is back. 888-957-9570. Anthony Slater reporting that the first year is $22.3 million, and it escalates from there with the 4th year yet to be completely determined in terms of exactly how much he's going to get. 888-957-9570. Warrior fans, how you feeling about the Draymond Green contract?
95.7 The Game breaking news.
I'm kidding with this one, but Warrior fans will appreciate it. And maybe the guys in the control room think I was going somewhere else. But yeah, Damian Lee is breaking news worthy, right? Damian Lee's sounder worthy.
He's a Warriors?
No. Damian Lee has agreed to a 1-year deal to stay with the Phoenix Suns. That, according to Woj, and now Woj also, he's adding it's actually a 2-year deal with a player option. So 1-year player option. So Damian Lee back to Phoenix, not coming to the Golden State Warriors.
Back to Phoenix. And yesterday we did our vet min props, our veteran minimum props, and both you and Larry Krueger this week had said that the Warriors would sign a Curry, quote unquote, either Seth Curry, Damian Lee, or Austin Rivers.
Won't be the right Curry, though.
Right. Austin Rivers' sister is actually married to Seth Curry, so now we're down to just 2, quote-unquote, Currys that the Warriors might sign, and they've already given a qualifying offer to Ty Jerome, and if nobody matches Ty Jerome, he'll be back as a Warrior. Dario Saric is linked to the Golden State Warriors as well, so the Warriors are quietly running out of roster spots, JD, and we do know now that Damian Lee will not be a Golden State Warrior as he re-signs with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, no more Damian Lee as far as the potential of coming back. I think Warrior fans can rejoice on that one. I think that would have been popular in the Warriors locker room and maybe among the Warriors coaching staff. It would not have been popular among the fan base.
More breaking news coming right around the corner. It's 3:18. We've already had a bunch of bombshells as free agency is underway, headlined by Draymond Green. According to sources, Shams Charania had it first. Draymond Green will sign a 4-year deal with the Warriors, an extension, $100 million. Draymond Green takes a pay cut in year 1, but he gets a player option in year 4. Warrior fans, how you feeling? The questions have been answered. Draymond Green is back with the Golden State Warriors. We got many people who want to weigh in. Let's start with Gene in Oakland. Gene, what's going on? Happy Dre Day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thrilled, man.
You sound like
kind of holding my breath there. Yeah. Anyways, no, I'm very, very happy for the 4-year deal. Looks like he'll be finishing his career with us along with Steph, and hopefully Klay along with him. So that's terrific news. I'm also really excited about Saric. I mean, he may be the next sort of Otto Porter, quality player that kind of slipped under the radar because he was injured, played overseas last year. Still only 29, 6'10". So he might be a real big help too. But like you, JD, I still think maybe we're falling a little short. However, if Kuminga can take a major step forward, if all these experienced veterans play the way we expect them, we might have a real shot.
Thank you, Gene. I appreciate it. We're running out of time in terms of other veterans that are going to sign onto this team. If Ty Jerome does not have any other suitors, then the Warriors qualifying offer will be accepted. And you got Ty Jerome and Dario Saric. We don't know officially. Monty Poole from NBC Sports Bay Area reported that the Warriors and Dario Saric are reportedly close. But is there another player out there, JD, that could get this team over the top?
I don't know that there is a specific name when we start talking about the minimum market that I would put up there. I mean, right. I know people are getting excited about Saric, and we'll see. I mean, if that ends up coming to fruition, it sounds like there's a decent likelihood of that. But again, that would be one box checked for me among 3 veteran minimums, and I didn't really include Ty Jerome in that. I looked at Ty Jerome as kind of an extra to that. And so if you're adding Saric, I guess you got to sit back and wait. Look, when you're on the veteran minimum market, it ain't one guy. It's got to be the combination and how the pieces fit together. So to sit here and kind of go through, different possible names in a glut of what can kind of look like mediocrity is probably somewhat futile at this point.
888-957-9570. The Warriors will sign Draymond Green. They've agreed to a 4-year, $100 million deal. Draymond has a player option for year number 4, which would be the year after Steph Curry's contract expires. Klay Thompson has one more year. What's next for the Warriors in terms of Klay Thompson and keeping the big three together? Is this team good enough? 888-957-9570. How do you feel about your Warriors now? Draymond Green will come back, and he'll join Steph and Klay and Chris Paul for next year. Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, GP2, couple of rookies. Rumors about Dario Saric maybe signing. Is this Warrior team able to be good enough in this upcoming year to get back and win a fifth championship, a.k.a. one for the thumb? 888-957-9570. Chris Haynes reporting that DeAndre Jordan has reached an agreement to return to the Denver Nuggets. That's coming out as well. And I think DeAndre Jordan would have been a great sort of veteran minimum big, in my opinion, a guy you could throw out there for 10 to 12 minutes, but now he's going back to Denver.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted DeAndre Jordan. I do think that would have been somebody that potentially could have had some interest from the Warriors. Bruce Brown going to Indiana. So Denver loses Bruce Brown. I thought it was interesting. You always wonder what moves are setting up other moves. And it turns out the Kings, who had been linked to Bruce Brown and really wanted to get, in a way, they may have helped Indiana get Bruce Brown by taking on Duarte in that deal that went down earlier this morning. And so Denver, we're keeping an eye on everybody in the Western Conference, who's getting better, who's not. I think the Suns, and we can run through some of their moves, have had a pretty solid beginning to the day. They're getting Keita Bates-Diop as well. So I think that helps them. They've kept Okogie. They've kept Damian Lee. Denver loses Bruce Brown. Those are going to be some tough shoes to fill. I mean, he was one of basically their 7 playable players.
And Bruce Brown gets 2 years and $45 million, according to Malika Andrews and Woj, a part of that negotiation. Not the negotiation, but the reportage as well.
And how about this note from Bobby Marks? Bruce Brown earned a total of $15.1 million in his career to this point before signing with Indiana. So he's basically going to almost triple that in one sign of the pen.
In 2 years, one side of the pen, and he can triple that. It's a true come-up for a guy who's an NBA champion. And something about being a champion, JD, gets you that extra juice on the market, even though, as you mentioned, he was largely a seventh man with the Denver Nuggets.